Thank you for tuning in. This is DJ Fobfresh from SegaShiro.com, and today we're bringing you a video review of Sakura Wars, So Long My Love. This came out on the PS2 and on the Nintendo Wii. The Sakura Wars series has been a very successful one for Sega. Back in the 32-bit era, the Sega Saturn version was one of the top-selling games for that system. Furthermore, the franchise as a whole has gone over to sell over 3 million units in Japan. The popularity of the video game led to different tie-ins such as animated series, manga, even films. There was even a period of time where there was a shop that dedicated itself solely to selling Sakura Wars items. What's amazing is that it took so long to come to North America. It is a Sega-developed title, however it is licensed by Red Entertainment, and it was Nippon Ichi Software that actually brought this title over to North America. Sakura Wars is a very whimsical title, very silly, often making you laugh, very light-hearted affair, and yet at the same time the storyline is pretty good as a coming-of-age tale. Now, the story is set in New York City in the late 1920s. It focuses on an ensign, Shinjiro Taiga, so that's the character that you play, and he is transplanted from his hometown of Japan to New York to lead a fighting troupe that's disguised as a stage ensemble. Sound weird? Yes, it is. And yet, at the same time, this is what kind of lets the universe grow and be so different than many other games you played because it's not really tied to anything realistic. The main focus of the game is storyline and relationships. Now, you might hear that this game is a bit of a dating sim. That's sort of true. I mean, in the end, your main character does end up with one of the other characters in the game. The main point of these character interactions is to understand the other members of your squad. That way, when you interact with them, you can say things that will boost their morale, which boosts their skill set in battle mode. So it's really more about understanding the psychology of the various girls as opposed to just dating all of them. I mean, this shouldn't be confused with something like DOA Paradise. This isn't that. This is a lot classier. So while the art style is top-notch and the graphics generally fit that theme, it doesn't support true progressive scan, and it doesn't support 16:9 widescreen, which is a little bit troubling. There are two main gameplay modes in Sakura Wars: Adventure Mode, which is the text-based interactions, and then Battle Mode, which are the SRPG-like battle scenes. The Adventure Mode is backdropped by a 1920s steampunk-inspired New York. And while you spend a lot of time at the theater, there's also different areas that you can go to. When you select one of these areas, you can go around and interact with the various characters, and different situations will pop up. Oftentimes you have a time limit, and in doing so, you can only choose specific places to go. And so if you played the game differently, there's totally different character interactions you could have. One thing I thought was really funny about this game was the fact that if you chose a very cliched answer, sometimes the game would call you out on that, and I thought that was pretty cute. A lot of the gameplay in the adventure mode is handled by quick time events. Now, some of these might be making decisions with a timer, another might be following a series of button presses or clicks, another type might be that you have a volume meter so you can say things with great zeal or with quiet fortitude. It actually has a striking similarity to something like Heavy Rain, except I found this less tedious than I did Heavy Rain. In terms of control options, you can use the Wiimote and the nunchuck. However, I suggest using the classic controller, as this game was really developed with the PS2 in mind, and the two analog sticks feel a lot better. As you can see here, that there's very little grinding in the game, since all of the leveling up is handled through these character storyline interactions. You can see the relationships to the game and track them. So, as you can see that the stronger, thicker bars are characters that during my gameplay that I had a better affinity with. Also, during your choices, other characters will have affinities with each other. And while the majority of the game is still shots, making this seem like a very, very still, almost text-based adventure game, when it does have an animation cutscene, they're very well done. In the strategy battle sections of the game, you have three sets of bars. You have your specialty meter, you have your health meter, and of course you have your action bar. And the amount of actions you can do, such as movement or attacks, are limited by those bars. Now, when I first started up the game, I found the battle system to be a little awkward, just a little bit clumsy, and I think that was mostly because I was walking into invisible walls. Thankfully, they included a return feature, so you can actually check out where you want to move, and then jump back. Many of the battles over the course of the game end up involving unique situations, and you really start to develop a key sense of using the different strategies involved. Joint attacks, the specialty attacks, knowing how to economize movement is very, very important in this game. Also, the protect and help me options are really, really useful. One thing I didn't find very useful was the strategy option. Mostly I found that keeping my characters sort of in the middle section as opposed to being extra aggressive or extra defensive always was the best option. In other parts of the battle mode, you can actually take flight in your ship and you fight these huge bosses sort of in the air. It's a nice touch. It doesn't really change the gameplay mechanic, but it gives it a different aesthetic look. There is a lot of voice acting in this game, and often the English dub is hit or miss. I genuinely enjoyed the translation. There was no issues there. Some of the voice acting was a little bit spotty for me, especially the last character, except these are just small complaints in a pretty amazing package. If you do pick up the PS2 version though, you have both the Japanese dub edition and the English dub, so you can choose whichever one you want. I found the musical score and the theme to be very, very catchy in this title, and that's really all I ask for in a music score in a video game. I put over 20 hours into the game when I first beat it on the Wii, and there are an extra 6 endings I could potentially unlock. Once you beat the game though, you do get a Save Game Plus option, which keeps your characters leveled up, and you also gain the ability to skip text you've seen before. It's a nice touch. This game has been getting a lot of positive reviews from many venues, and you can add mine to the list. It's ultimately an endearing tale, despite any of the minor quabbles that you could have with it. And while it's a niche effort for sure, the gamers that will enjoy this title will actually love it. This is DJ Fob Fresh signing out, saying keep on gaming.